It's literally, as the title says, India through archaeology. It's the story of human habitation in India from prehistoric times till almost the present. And I highlight the role of the archaeologist in unearthing all this exciting information, the roles, the methods. But in a sense, it's also the history of archaeology as a subject. You know, its genesis, its growth, all the people who, worked for archaeology, literally unearthing the antiquity of India. Two reasons. From the day I started studying archaeology as a master's student, I knew that I just had to do it, because some of the stories that archaeology throws up, it would put a good detective story or a thriller to shame, And the other reason is the number of children who've come up to me and said, I'm really interested in archaeology. And then we'd start this discussion, and it would be about the pyramids or Machu Picchu or the terracotta army or something. And I think in their imagination, there is no such equivalent in India, in Indian archaeology. So I just thought that this had to be done. Archaeology could not just be in the realm of academia, it just had to be done for children, so that in Indian children's imagination, there is something exciting in Indian archaeology. It's very difficult to pick, but yeah, the first one I think is the story of Ashoka. I mean, today every Indian school child knows who Ashoka the Great is, but it's not so well known till mid-19th century. Virtually nobody knew that Ashoka existed. It was only in the late 1800s when the subject of archaeology was developing, and they were finding, scholars and soldiers and generally wanderers and adventurers were finding all these pillars and rocks with a strange script on it. They called it the Pin Man script because it was undeciphered, but the script looked like stick figures. So they would copy them down. They didn't know what they meant at all. Only in 1837, when James Prinsep deciphered this Pin Man script, and it's now known as the Mauryan Brahmi script, they discovered that there was once 2000 years ago, a king named Ashoka, and he was great because of what was written on those edicts and pillars. The other is, I think my personal favorite, is Bhimbetka, this complex of caves and rock shelters in central India where prehistoric humans have drawn scenes from their daily life. To me, it's the equivalent of having, photographs from ancient societies. They're pictures of people hunting, fishing, gathering honey, dancing, burials, rituals, animals, beautiful animals depicted. So that's very special, telling you about the life of people 10,000 years ago, not just the earliest signs of human creative activity, but the activities themselves. I think what they've enjoyed most is the format. I mean, Tulika has done a brilliant job of the design of the book. It's colorful, it's glossy, it's full of photographs. Ashok Rajagopalan's illustrations are quirky and funny. So they've really related to it. I mean, a layout like this, for instance, a child can't help but be drawn to it, So I think that's what's really triggered the interest in the book among children, at least. For parents, I think the story format of the chapters and the visual appeal makes it quite easy to read, even for smaller children. Why I say this is I recently had a session with almost 70 children, and although we had a lot of interesting activities linked to the session, the highlight was when I started to read a part of one of the chapters, and all the children gathered around and were avidly listening, which is something that could easily be done at home. For teachers and librarians, it is a very highly researched book And there are a number of elements that I think they'll find very useful. There is a timeline, there are illustrated maps, there are photographs, there are cross references to other civilizations. So it could be many things. It could be a resource book, it could be a reference book, it could be a very useful supplement to their history textbooks. There's a very simple answer to that. The Hindu Young World Good Books Award is literally the wind beneath my wings right now.